Hello people, another beautiful day. Hope your five senses work, health and strength is good. Or excellent. What? What's up gamers? We have 8 emulators now. New ones. You're like 8 emulators? Yeah, from the Nuzu situation. Okay. Listen to this. Ready? Alright. Let's see, which one should I do first here? Okay, let me start off with the Nuzu first. It says this. The Nuzu Switch emulator lives on with Nuzu and Suyu projects. It says here, the development of Nuzu was permanently halted, but the popular Nintendo Switch emulator will continue to live on thanks to multiple projects that were recently launched. Nuzu and the aptly named Suyu project are both open source works based on the latest version of Nuzu. They do not support piracy in any capacity and are currently looking for developers, so they currently do not offer anything past what the proper emulator they are based on does. Still, this shows how the emulation community is unwilling to back down. It says here, as mentioned above, the development of Nuzu Nintendo Switch emulator was discontinued yesterday as developer Rpcsx settled the lawsuit with Nintendo, agreeing to pay Japanese company $2.4 million in damages. You can find an excerpt of the message shared by development team below. It says here, Nuzu and its team have always been against piracy. We started the project in good faith, out of passion for Nintendo and its console games, and we're not intent to cause harm. But we see that because our project can circumvent Nintendo technological protection measures and allow users to play games outside of authorized hardware, they have led to extensive piracy. In particular, we have been deeply disappointed when users have used our software to leak games content to its prior and ruin the experience for legitimate purchasers and fans. Alright, that's the Nuzu section, right? Alright, now let's do the PlayStation. So we got a total of 8 emulators. 8. Alright. Listen to this. Article is pretty short, by the way. What's up, WCCF Tech? Or is this Tech for Gamers? Oh yeah, Tech for Gamers. Alright, listen to this. It says PS4 emulator PSOFF in development. A total of 6 emulators in the works. So 2 emulators from the Nuzu situation and 6 from PlayStation. Listen to this. It says here, another hope for Bloodborne on PC appears. It says here, a new PlayStation 4 emulator called PSOFF is currently in development. Then it says this brings the total number of PS4 emulators in the works for PC to 6. Says here, this also brings us hope to somehow emulate Bloodborne on PC. Says here, yet another PS4 emulator has merged in the market, increasing the number of PS4 emulators in development to 6. The new emulator is called PSOFF. Oh, and by the way, to you gamers talking about 60 frames per second, 60 frames per second is a complete joke. Watch this. It says, and for the time being, it runs mostly lighter titles. However, it has already shown promise in terms of rendering and FPS. FPS meaning frames per second. Like I said to you before, 60 frames per second is a complete joke. Watch this. This said why it matters. The involvement of more teams could speed up this process, leading to reliable options for those hoping to play PS4 library on PC. Developed by Sisray and Kokilov, the V is silent, by the way. It says here, emulator boosts decent rendering speed. According to screenshot updated by creators, get this, like I told you, 60 frames per second is a joke. Remember that. Alright, says here, it can run Sonic Mania at, get this, 1,449 frames per second. FPS. Oh, you want frames? You sure you can handle it? Okay, alright. Says here, Worms WMD at 234 frames per second. So, and Black Hole at 32 frames per second. Says here, in the past, emulators like Rpcsx have used Sonic Mania as their initial title, while others like FPPS4 already support hundreds of games. Therefore, the emulation scene for this console has made a lot of progress already. While these games aren't very difficult to run, considering the PS-OFF emulator is still new, the results are quite impressive. With time, it will only get better, but the emulator is still missing many features. It says here, these include multiple commands, buffer submits, loops, and shaders, and missing opcodes. However, considering the rendering speeds are so great, the creators have a solid foundation to build upon. The PS4 emulator currently in the works include FPPS4, that's FPPS4, Spine, Rpcsx, Kitty, KYTY, GPCS4, and PSOFF, that's PSOFF. Okay. Then it says here, sitting there messing around here. Yeah, 60 frames per second is a joke, people. Anyway, it says here, see if I can get this. Sitting there messing around here. See if I can get this. 60 frames per second is a complete joke. So yeah, 1,149 frames per second. Yeah, you want frames? Can you handle it? That's the question. So yeah, these emulators are no joke. But let's see here. Anything else? Come on. All right, you're messing with me. Now you want to play hardball. Anyway, look. Oh, wait a minute. I'm almost done here. Oh, here it says as the PS4 grows older, the wish to play more of its titles on PC further, it boasted a strong lineup of exclusives and are more currently being ported to PC. Rumors even include a port of infamous Second Son. However, for every game Sony seems to have left behind, emulation might be the solution moving forward. Alright, look. Emulation can be used for good, and emulation can be used for bad. In the Yuzu situation, some people was using emulation for profit, and that's why Nintendo went after them. On the Sony front, since the PlayStation 4 library is so big, the people are trying to preserve video games. But then this goes back to the virtual console. I mean, this goes back to Nintendo, Sony, and even Microsoft, preserving games alive. But then that comes down to licensing and keys and all that. Nintendo had a virtual console with the Wii and the DS. But then they had the virtual console again with the Wii U and the 3DS. In each situation, you had a cartridge versus CD problem that they themselves created. And then they had the virtual console, because the virtual console is an emulator, by the way. So it's an emulator, it's a hard drive, it's your store, it's your library, it's your cave, it's your bunker, and it's your archive for your video games. So Nintendo was supposed to put all those games in that virtual console. And they made up a fake story saying it was sales while the Wii U failed. But That's not even the case, because with the Wii U they had a cartridge versus CD problem, and the if you look at the Wii, every game that the Wii had, it was missing content. Plus, it was missing the Wii U Pro controller function, and then and the tablet function, right? Those games, every game on the Wii was missing updates. With the Wii U, you had a cartridge versus CD problem. Then you had the 3DS versus the Wii U. The Wii U had a tablet, had a docking station console, and since it's backwards compatible with Wii, has the motion controller and the Wii U Pro controller. That's a complete system, so you don't need the 3DS anymore, right? So Nintendo needed to get rid of the 3DS, plus it's limited, and it was in the way of the Wii U. With the Wii U now, the tablet, you can put a motherboard, CPU, GPU, APU, RAM, SATA, solid state drive in it. You could have built a Joy-Con on the Wii U's tablet. Okay, you can lengthen the screen and widen it. For the docking station, you can build it as powerful as you want it. The console, you can do the same. With the Wii U, with the Switch, you don't have every angle, every direction, and every base of video game covered. So the Switch should have never been built. The Wii, you don't have every angle, every direction, every base of video game covered. But with the Wii U now, you had every angle, every base, every direction, every angle of video game covered. So the Switch should have never been built. Years ago, I told you guys that CD holds more data than SD cards, and you guys thought this was a joke. And then about 2 weeks ago, I made a video where they came up with a technology to increase the storage space on a CD to about, I think, 120 terabytes. So that shows you, when it comes to video games, the Switch should have never been built. Okay? The Wii U had everything covered. All they had to do was get rid of the 3DS, refresh the Wii U, and keep using it, and then store all their classic games that they have from all those previous consoles into the virtual console, and then collect the updates so you can play them on the Wii U. They refuse to do it. Okay, all right. Remember, the Wii U is backwards compatible with Wii, and the Wii is backwards compatible with GameCube. The Wii U is missing the GameCube from that situation. So yeah, when it comes to these storefronts, it's all about licenses and and contracts that they have with these studio developers. So these console manufacturers should have put a lot of those games into these storefronts to preserve them. I mean, they try, but it costs some money if you really look at it. But the emulation scene now tried to fix that problem. These console manufacturers supposed to make their console backwards compatible, like how Microsoft tried to do with the Xbox One when they had the 360 and some Xbox games, original Xbox, backwards compatible. So I mean, Nintendo should have done that when it came to the Wii U. Refresh it and just keep using it, let people and just keep on using it, versus building something new. PlayStation, they had the PS3. The PS2 is backwards compatible with PS1. The PS3 is backwards compatible. The 20 gig model PS3 and the 60 gig model PS3. The 20 gig model, you need an Ethernet cable, Ethernet adapter for that. But with the 60 gig model, both of them is backwards compatible with PS1, PS2, PS3. Okay, so when it came to these consoles, these console manufacturers are supposed to make these console backwards compatible, but they always come up with the excuse saying it's expensive to do that. So the emulation community now try to pitch in, like, okay, we got to try to find a way to play these older games that we have in the archives of all these consoles. Whoops. These emulation community tried to pitch in by like, okay, got to find a way of like try to play these older games on these newer consoles. So emulation can be used for good, but emulation can be used for bad. The way Nintendo went about it, they try to make it look like emulation is all bad. But they're forgetting something, that the virtual console is a emulator, and them trying to bring those Game Boy games to the Switch, they're using emulators. So they need to like check their statements, recheck their statements that they use in those courts, because emulation can be used for good, because it's all about preserving all these games, alive. That's why you see a lot of these modders, they take consoles like the PS2 and the, let's see, what's another one? I've seen people try to, I've seen a video, I think they connected like a SATA hard drive to the 360, and they found a way to like bring all those Xbox games and play all the original Xbox games on the 360. So emulation can be used for good that way. So it's not all bad. It's just that sometimes Nintendo go overboard. But these emulators that are in development, and since the fans, they spend a lot of money on these video games, they don't want to lose them. So they're trying to find ways to preserve them, because it's like, okay, I already have the game already. Why am I buying the game a second time when I already have it? Unless you're making a big remake like how Square Enix did it with Final Fantasy VII Remake, then okay, fine. But just to be buying the game twice, just to be buying it twice, when I already have it, when like you already have it, not just me, but you might already have it, it's like a waste of money. So yeah, emulation can preserve video games that way, but it can be used for good. But these 8 emulators just show that the emulation scene is alive and well. These emulation, the emulation scene is alive and well. It's just, I think they all learned a lesson from this whole situation. They learned a lesson. So they're trying to learn from. They're trying to move on from this, but by no way, is emulation is it dead? Is it dead? It's still alive and well. So it's just people trying to find ways to play these older games on newer console or even on PC. Now when it comes to PC, Microsoft, Sony have already started putting their games on PC already. They start putting their games on PC already. So some of those games that some of the PlayStation fans, some of the I would say PC fans want from Sony and Microsoft, is going to take some. It takes time to get those games there. Right now you have Horizon Forbidden West comes out this month. So that game was on PlayStation. That was a PlayStation exclusive, but now it's on PC. So games like that and Spider-Man 2 might take some time to get there. Some people want Bloodborne. Some people want even Gran Turismo. So it takes time. So the emulation community try to find a way to try to play that game on their PCs. So yeah. But other than that, man, emulators can be used for good. Emulators can be used for bad. So yeah. But yeah, the emulation community scene is alive and well. Nintendo like to exaggerate things. They go overboard with it, but they are using emulators, so make no mistake about it. Because when they're porting games from from one console to the next, you have to use some type of emulator to bring that game to current. So yeah. But other than that, man, 8 emulators in the works. these emulators, these emulator manufacturers, they seen what happened to Yuzu, so I mean they're trying to what's that? Walk that line carefully, by not breaking any rules. They're learning from that. So from Yuzu, they're learning from Yuzu, and then they're gonna move on. But emulators, emulators can be used for good. Now, some people be on YouTube talking about Nintendo lawyers are scary. No, they're not. They're just humans. Okay, it's just that Yuzu, who are humans, they made a bad error, crucial mistake, and they had to answer for it. But ain't no way Nintendo lawyers are invincible. So anybody that keeps sitting on YouTube like, oh, Nintendo lawyers are scary, stop it. They're just humans. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, other than that, man, the emulation community goes on, but it can be used for good. It's just that people that's been playing video games for years, they have a collection of games that they want to play on modern hardware. What Microsoft was doing with the backwards compatibility, where like you could take a game from the 360 and play it on the Xbox One. That was nice. What they were doing, that was really nice. When you could play like say like the first Halo, or I think it was the first Halo on the Xbox One, or you could play games that were on the 360, like taking Red Dead Redemption and then played on the Xbox One. That was pretty good of them. So emulation can work for good that way, but there's a darker side. There's a dark side to emulation, but there's a price to be paid for that part of emulation. But the good side, it can benefit a lot of people. So I think these console manufacturers, they need to really wake up. Because all these consoles, they're adding up, man. Those games that they're making, they're adding up. And now with these consoles and how powerful they're getting, a lot of the games that we played from the past, those games can be open world. So yeah. And if you have the original, emulation can help in that way. So yeah. It's a good tool to have. It's a good tool to have, but only if you use it in the right way. Only if you use it in the right way. But, yeah. But other than that, man, 8 emulators in the works. 8 of them. Sony tried to bring some of their older games to the PlayStation 5. They're trying to find ways to bring games to the PS5. But guess what? Some of their older games from the PS1, PS2, PS3 to the PlayStation 5. But guess what? They're gonna have to use emulation to do it. They're gonna have to use it. So yeah. And then go on from there. Nintendo on the other hand, try to be this. I would say, what's that word I'm looking for? Hypocritical. They try to act like emulation is all bad, but when it comes to moving games from one console to the next, and they're using a different architecture. They're using a different architecture. You have to use emulation for their lawyers to come out and throw this tantrum and this, what you call it, hissy fit. It's a publicity stunt because they know they have to use emulation to bring those games over to like say to the Switch. They have to. So yeah, they're not gonna rebuild rebuild all those games because it takes time to do all that. So yeah, they have to use emulation. Now they could provide an update through software that they use, but the actual physical game itself takes time to build. So yeah. But other than that, man, Nintendo have to use emulation to bring those games over. Okay, so yeah, they try to act like they don't, but they do. But yeah, but other than that, man, yeah, emulation can be used for good. It Emulation can be used for bad, man. Sometimes when you go on YouTube and you see somebody take an Xbox 360 and they have all the Xbox games running on it, the originals. You know? It's good to see, man, that you could do that, you know? Because, yeah, consoles get old, so, yeah. But other than that, man, 8 emulators in the works. Anyway, I'm going to leave this video for y'all to enjoy. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars and Star Trek fan, or Dark Side. Go. Peace.